Architectural Synesthesia, a translation. This project implicates the role of reason and objectivity as the gauge through which, since modernity, our society has been measured and designed. Increasingly important defining sectors of our societal and spatial reality, from pedagogy and politics to art and architecture, have been solely using reason and objectivity as means through which they attempt to achieve their designated objectives. The current climate is one revelation of the faulty measure which has been the basis by which our country has been modeled. From colonization and ideas of manifest destiny, the implication was a superiority over others. This perceived superiority tethered to ideas of faulty reason has permeated all aspects of the current reality, from police brutality to architecture. This project proposes a retuning and repacing of that current paradigm. If we use subjectivity, emotion, perception, and senses as tools just as valid as those proposed to build the world we live in today, how might we see changes in our spatial and social realities? The centers of technology like Silicon Valley could suddenly be dwarfed by a new kind of modernity, one where the senses, emotions, and subjectivity are the most valuable means of progression. In this world, the pedagogy has shifted from fact learning to self-explorative exercises which motivate change through evolving and engaging the senses. Synesthetes are prevalent as our senses evolve to new complexities and our spaces evolve to be more receptive and emotive, and by being so are constantly defined by subjective realities. As a Dominican-American, low-middle-class daughter of a single working mother, college-educated, daughter of a Black Dominican man, constantly moving from Dominican Republic to New York, constantly questioning the ground I stand on, multiracial woman, the world I see and feel is informed by these aspects of who I am. And the way I feel can create vibrations, which are the ones I seek to harness into forms of social and political infrastructure, including architecture. When thinking about the current climate around police brutality and racial tensions, one recent incident that has been the catalyst for major protests has been the death of George Floyd. But along with the despair felt in many of these protests, there has been a perceived opportunity for change. For the first time, I saw a protest that moved me and compelled me to act. I felt, in a strange way, a form of release. This made me wonder what are the constructs in the current paradigm that are keeping us complacent and that keep us from taking action. How can we break through our jadedness and recalibrate our energies in order to act before things get to this point? I investigated sound as a powerful tool of inspiration and a potential recalibrator. These images investigate frequencies and explore how an image can reveal inherent energy. What this energy looks like, how it tells us something about itself, how much of it is imposed syntax, assumptions we make about what the meaning is based on social constructs. For example, up is good, down is bad, bigger means more, smaller means less, blue is calm, red is intense. Intensities of emotions and social unrest can be complex and difficult to explain in only words, but I looked into trying to quantify these emotions nonetheless, studying some individual events throughout New York City. I looked at some significant numbers surrounding some of the deaths throughout New York due to police brutality. 41, Amadeo Diallo shot 41 times outside of his apartment because he was believed to have a gun and to have committed a crime. 11, Eric Garner yelled, "I can't breathe" 11 times before suffocating to death for selling Lucy's in Staten Island. Sean Bell shot 50 times in Jamaica, Queens, as he was out celebrating his bachelor party. I took these numbers and created circumferences with those numbers in feet apart, then repeated them that many times. In the case of Eric Garner, for example, I multiplied 11 times 11 and got 121. And every 121 feet, I drew a circle, 121 times. I took a closer look at the area of Crown Heights, south of Flushing Avenue, where a lot of these intensities intertwined, and wonder how this could be the center of extreme energy and a place to organize around in order to harness this energy and to use it to mobilize. But how to harness the intangible energies, emotions, vibrations, sounds so that they may in fact have a real effect. Firstly, I had to amplify them into more perceptible mediums of comprehension, in a way translating them from one form to another, making them visible, making them physically reactive. I looked at how smoke could make sound waves visible, showing us how their waves reacted and bounced off of physical objects. These images show the rippling of a voice at specific intervals, affecting the smoke, which then reacts to the surrounding architecture. Superimposed, these moments create a visual representation of what it would feel like to be in this space, a greater description. Exploring these intensities yielded some understanding of the ways it could occupy space two-dimensionally, and told me something about the way it could react to form. But I looked at how I could further describe this space by bringing it into the physical realm, and that meant creating three-dimensional space. Dealing again with these significant numbers, which helped me to some degree quantify intensity, I entered them into a script which would generate plotted points, and the radius of an interior sphere which determined the length of the plotted point extrusions, this creating specific spaces as well as data for each of the events. This image shows, on the left, the plotted points which correspond to the specific person. On the right, the planned view of the space it created. Anthony Baez, 60. Eric Gardner, 11. But this left the matter of the human emotion and subjectivity of the event still unconsidered, and I wondered about the ways I could use my own subjectivity as a metric. These specific events were striking to me because of the experiences that have shaped my perception of the world and made me resonate with more particular aspects of their deaths. They create a frequency of their own that changes when it reacts with my own. I used the data generated previously but superimposed it with the color that I saw when I thought of their deaths. I also used images of their life which spoke to me personally, either because they looked like someone that I love or because I understood some degree of their pain. Then a frequency was generated, which was defined by these layered aspects of what resonated with me. This is Eric Gardner. This is Amadou Diallo. This is Anthony Baez. An exploration on creating and describing space with subjectivity. If creating lines which have specific lengths, locations, and meaning can tell us something about the emotion, how can they function as well as forms of set-out drawings? Once exploring the ways in which a message can be communicated analogously, I explored how to make three-dimensional space, informed by quantified data as well as felt subjective emotion, translated and perceived in order to describe and communicate more clearly. Communication implies a conversation of sorts, a back and forth exchange which informs and causes reaction in both parties. To more fully understand sound as one form of an intangible vibration, I was seeking to engage it on another level, touch. I was looking to amplify the message, to feel it more, to translate what I could, and to make it tangible. I created an apparatus informed by the data points from Amadou Diallo. I ran strings through each of these points and stretched Myler's sheet, enclosing a box to function as yet another amplifier. The strings created a specific density and pattern determined by the number. Using sound, the strings moved. With my hand in the apparatus, I could feel the movement of the strings, and my attempt to feel them more, understand them more, caused me to move my hand to specific points of density. The architecture then becomes a receiver and transmitter. Created by emitted energy, it amplifies vibrations according to the frequency that made it. It perceives those moving through it, reacting to its vibration, and sends it off to connect and communicate with others. Can technology begin to prioritize its efforts on the act of translating and connecting frequencies, as the frequencies are the medium through which new societal infrastructures are formed? I looked at sound in order to understand how vibrations could shift and rearrange matter. These spaces, formed by intangible vibrations subjectively generated, would combine to create an intensified frequency, which would literally shape the ground they stand on. How could this shifting disrupt and recreate social paradigms, yield creation of new technological, political, and architectural infrastructure that is more attuned?